Gawain Jones recently won the British Chess Championships. I thought it was a really interesting tournament, and it really shows us the power of reputation when you're a top grandmaster like Gawain Jones. Because in a lot of the games we're going to see today, he wasn't even better, but he somehow managed to get results. So a good example of this would be in round 5, where he was up against GM-elect Trails Royale. So that's an IM, but he's going to be GM next list, I think, because he's 2504 and he's got the norms. So Shreyas was having a really good tournament, and he got into this position as white, and he's plus 3.3. He's got the rook for the bishop, and honestly, the more you look at this position, the more you realise that white is actually quite a lot better. So it looks like on the face of it, like black, as you know, this bishop. Maybe he can even get his rook in somehow. And it looks a bit scary for white. But then the more you look at it, the more you can see that actually, because of black's king here, black hasn't really got any moves because of the checkmate threats. This rook for white causes all sorts of trouble for black. So if Shiraz Royale was playing me in this position, I can 100% tell you that he would play on 100%. Because after queen c2, bishop g7 is kind of forced. So we've got checkmate on h7. There's not really any way to stop it. The only way you can maybe stop it is rook f7. Then you're just going to take this rook. So obviously bishop g7 only move. And it's queen g6. And you know, +4. Kind of an easy. You can clearly see that white's just completely better here. The equivalent of a piece up. Also, if we look at the time situation here, Gawain Jones has 3 minutes left to make 10 moves. Meanwhile, Shreyas Royale, as you can see here, has 29 minutes left. So he has more time and a much better position. And he offers a draw. Gawain here. And Shreyas Royale, he accepts. Shreyas Royale accepts a draw. So he accepts a draw, even though he's almost +4. And this is a huge turning point in the British Championships, I think. You didn't really realise it at the time because it's only round 5, but the difference here between Gawain losing and getting a draw is the difference between Gawain becoming British champion or not by round 9. So I think you can tell that the fact that Gawain Jones was a 26-40 veteran top grandmaster really affected whether Shreyas Royale played on here or accepted a draw. So I think that was really interesting. Also, I think I did a video on this actually, where I did a video on this ending a few days ago actually, and this was in round 2, and Gawain Jones here is white, and it looks completely won for white, right, on first look, but it's actually dead draw. And believe it or not, black here, despite it being a table taste draw, and black's an IM, so he's not like a noob or something. He's not like a rubbish player. You know, he's 23-34 and IM as well. And he resigned here. And I did a video on it because it was so crazy. Imagine for a second that I was the guy playing white here against IM Andrew Ledger. Do you think that he would resign here as black? I'd say there's a pretty strong chance, like at least 90%, that he would play on here. But because he's playing Gawain as a top grandmaster, he resigned. Because he just thought that Gawain's going to find whatever winning try there is here, and it's going to work for him. But it's just completely drawn. I mean, I showed you in the video that essentially white can never push this pawn because black takes this. And yeah, it's actually dead drawn. Actually, the more you look at it, the more drawn it becomes. So there's actually no way. You can even sap this pawn on e5 and it's still a draw because the bishop can come round. And I think the power of reputation might even be the reason why Gawain won the tournament. However, I think if we look at the actual games, we can see that actually Gawain picked up at least one whole extra point compared to everyone else because his opponents were essentially looking at his reputation and they were worried. And I think if we look at the games of Magnus Carlsen, specifically when he plays against players who are, I know it's quite rare, but let's say rapid play or occasional open tournament, whenever Magnus Carlsen or one of the top 10 plays a player under 2500, pretty much the same thing happens. their opponents resign. Their opponents see a position where they've got resources, but they know they're against such a strong player, and they resign. The main takeaway for you guys watching is when you're in a tournament against someone who's either way higher or way lower rated than you, try to be objective, because these guys, International Masters and GM Elect, looking back, made quite significant errors simply because of the reputation of their opponent. So what we want to do, because everyone does this, it doesn't matter if you're 1000 rated, 1500, 2000, 2500, if you're playing someone who's 400 points higher or lower, or however much higher or lower, we tend to base our moves, our decisions on that, when really we should be basing it on the position, trusting our own judgment. So I thought this was really interesting. But well done to Gawain, and a fantastic result for him.